Good afternoon, everybody. I am sitting here with Patricia Ndzimbou. Patricia, welcome. Please introduce yourself to us a little bit.
Hi, my name is Patricia Ndzimbou, but I'm Mrs. Kabuya. I'm the eldest of 5 siblings and I'm a mother of 3.
Great to meet you. So where were you born?
I was born in Brazzaville many years ago. Lived in Brazzaville until the age of 5. Moved to Paris to live with my dad for 2 years and went back to Congo because he finished his studies.
Okay, so you are a child of 2 continents. You spent some of your childhood in Africa and some of your childhood in Europe?
I would say yes, but mostly in Africa. I think I'm more of an African child, really.
So living in Brazzaville as a young woman, what were the lessons that you take from that compared to, let's say, children of the present day? What was your childhood like?
Living in Congo was actually very good. I remember, it was just a carefree childhood, really. Would walk on the street, although my dad had a car and would drop me at school. It's not something that I really liked. We prefer to walk with friends. You know, you walk in the morning, you come back to school together. My best friend, I think, lived about 10 streets away from me. So every day we'll go see each other. I'll take her, she'll take me back. My mom had to stop at some point to say, stop, this is the last time each of you had to go home. Also just, catching buses, taking taxis, being able to just go to friends without worrying about whatever we're worrying about today. I think today when you send your children somewhere, you want to know in which family they're going. At that time, we didn't have all of that. So it was just a carefree life. We'd go to parties, without really worrying about will my child come back or not. I think those are the differences in today's society, especially living in South Africa. You don't just leave your children.
So did you grow up mostly in the suburbs or were you more on the outskirts of Brazzaville?
So I think it's interesting because when I lived there, I thought it was a decent area. I just found it, normal. But today when I go back with my children, they kind of, Mommy, did you live in the township? I'm thinking, no, hell no, it was just a good area. But again, Congo was more of a socialist country at that time, so it didn't really have suburbs. Everybody just lived in the neighborhood. It didn't matter. Your neighbor could be a minister. We all had kind of a stable, how can I say?
Level, everybody was the same.
Level were the same, basically. Most of our parents were civil servants. Salaries were paid on time. So you didn't really have anything to envy to the other. So it was just, that kind of childhood.
So, you obviously moved to South Africa. What was the political climate like at the time?
So moving to South Africa, how could I say, was it by accident? It wasn't a plan. I didn't plan to move to South Africa. Of course, as a young Congolese, because Congo was colonized by France, I always thought I'll go and further my studies in France. And then I passed my matric, and we had a stable country up until the 90s. Then in the 90s came democracy. That's when trouble started. We started having civil wars, we started having unrest, and unfortunately I lived in the south of the city, in the south of Brazzaville, where the main opponent leader lived. So for any reason, they would block that part of the city. So basically there are days when you left in the morning and didn't know if you're gonna go back home, because when you come back, all of a sudden, they block the streets. One incident I particularly remember, my uncle lived not far from the opposition leader. And every time there was trouble, we'll all gather there because we now lived out of the city. And there was a day that they would be in my mind forever because my siblings went to school and when they came back, they blocked. So here my young sister at my uncle, and she was pretty sickly. And remember, there were no cell phones at that time. So they called the house, we are out of the city, to say that she is here but she's not well. And my mom, as any mom would do, was freaking out. She said, I have to go. My dad said, I'll go with you. She said, no, you are a man. If you come with me, we're probably going to get killed. And the streets are empty. As soon as you take the car out, literally, you can see, if you know Joburg, it's like being on Jan Smuts and seeing from Randburg to maybe Rosebank. The whole street is empty. And as soon as she got there, people just came to tell her, please, sister, don't go. Please, we don't want to lose you. She said, I'm a mom, my child is sick. She went. I never prayed so much in my life. I stayed home on my knees praying. We don't know how she got it. She said she got at a point close to the opposition leader, and these guys came out throwing stones. All of a sudden, somebody came and said, no, don't do that, she's my sister, and he didn't know her. He comes and says, sister, what are you doing here? She said, my child is sick, and I have to go get her. I'm going behind that block of house. I have to go there. Actually, when she left, she took my other sister with her. So she said to my sister, if they come, I'm going to say you are the one who's sick. And she says, by the time they came, and they touched my sister, she actually had a high temperature. Just from looking at all these people, from imagining what could have happened, she actually her temperature was just high. So we look at her, they say, oh, yeah, she looks so bad, we need to take you. So the guys came and made like a convoy around her so they could protect her. Then she got to my uncle. They exchanged the kids, got the one who was sick in the car, and she left. So imagine this is now the kind of environment that we lived in. And we're at home, we don't know if mom is gonna come back. We don't know what's happening. I'm praying, I'm crying. I think by then I knew, like, I started to worry about my future, that I need to leave this country because I don't think things will ever be normal. That's what I thought at the time.
What year was this? What year are we talking about?
We're talking about 91, 92, between 90 and 93, because I left Congo in 94. So we're talking all of this between 91, yes, I think 91, that's when it's restarted. Between 91 and 93, things were really just like any day things could blow up.
That's crazy. That's really, really sad. I mean, just that story talks about a mother's love and what a mother won't do to actually just, make sure her child is...
Exactly.
That's actually a very touching
exactly.
story.
And that's why my mom said to my dad, you stay. I think as a mom, I'll be able to convince those guys. And that's what happens. And actually, like you said, it just shows what a mother love can do, what a mother will do for the children.
She was willing to sacrifice herself. That's amazing.
Correct.
So, what was the political tension about? What was that about? Do you know? Do you remember?
So democracy came in 1990, and the leader that we had at the time actually resigned. We thought it was sincere, that things would go well, but it didn't take well the fact that he didn't win the elections in 1992. So he didn't take that well. And then from there just started like accusing the opposition of a coup every time, and things are just really, just too political. Unfortunately, beyond the political, there were now tribal issues, because the leader we had before was from the north of the Congo, and now the opposition is from the south, and mainly the Lari. So all of that just brought all this civil unrest, the civil war. When I grew up, I didn't even know what my neighbor, where he was from which region. I didn't know that. The language we mostly spoke in the area was Lari. So everybody spoke Lari until the civil war came. That's when I realized, oh my God, this family next to us, we're not Lari, because people started killing each other just based on the ethnic, from the tribal. That's when basically I realized. But growing up, we didn't know who was what. It was just everybody spoke the same language.
That's incredible. That's I suppose that's why they always say that African politics is always tribal. It's sad. It's good that you survived that. That's a very scary thing. So, how did you eventually leave Congo?
So I passed my matric in 1991, and I realized from 1991 to 1993 I was in the same year. Nothing was moving. As I said, unfortunately we were penalized because we lived in the south of Brazzaville. So every time they blocked the street. Meanwhile, your colleagues who live in the north are continuing going to university. So basically it was like sacrificing one side of a city. So I told my dad that I had, initially I said I want to go to France. He said no, because too many of your friends are there. I proposed a few countries, he said no. And at the time he had a friend who just discovered South Africa, brought his daughter here. I don't know how he convinced him. But one day I sat my dad and I said, you know what? Either I leave this country or I'm no longer going to school because I can see I'm just wasting my time. I actually said both of them, my mom and dad. I never spoke to them like that. I think they felt like I was really crazy. The following day, my dad came. He said, you have a week to prepare yourself. I'm taking to South Africa. South Africa, my God, who goes to South Africa? I never thought people came to South Africa. Like, South Africa. And remember, I couldn't speak a word of English. I mean,
I know.
Used not to attend my English classes, and now I have to go to South Africa. And yeah, that's how I ended up in South Africa.
You arrived in South Africa. How did you, for your tertiary, how did that go? Like, you don't speak the language?
Moving to South Africa, I could write a book about it. So my dad, this responsible dad that he was, decided to come with me for a week to settle me. So we come to South Africa, and my dad used to travel a lot actually, went to different countries, so he thought he could speak English. Fair enough, we get to the airport, they're asking for my passport. I can't understand what the guy is saying. He says, passport, your passport. So fine, we go to the hotel. Actually, the friend's daughter lived here, so the plan was for me to move in with them. There were already 2 or 3 Congolese sharing a flat. I had to go there. But as we go, remember now we're shopping, buying groceries. I realized my dad would always go to the shop and like, what's the price? And I could say no. And the guy said, huh? What's the price? So it happened a few times, and then I realized people were saying how much. I would listen to the people coming. Then I go like that. I think they say how much, not what's the price. What do you mean? I think they say how much. And next time we say how much, and it was much easier. So we opened an account, and I'm living in Mill Park. And Mill Park was very suburban. First of all, not many people. But also I realized we live in apartments. Us being Congolese, a few other Congolese moved down. We're on the 2nd floor, they moved down. So of course we're just being Congolese, screaming at each other. If you don't have salt, you just run down the stairs, you know, to get some salt and come back. But every time we go down, people will open the windows to look at us, and I didn't understand why. Why were people looking at us? So there was this cultural barrier. I thought it was post-apartheid, and I never imagined that I would still live this. This is 1994. And so South Africa was very challenging, the fact that we felt like South Africa did everything left. Everything that people did right, they did left. So the program was not the same in Congo. As I was trying to register for university, I realized they had technicons, universities, which I didn't understand. It was quite different from everything that I knew. So culturally, it was challenging. In terms of my studies, it was challenging. Language was challenging. Basically, just everything was challenging. South Africa made me realize that I was black. I realized for the first time that I was black. I remember living in Mill Park to go to Wits. I'll go catch my bus every day. And usually I got there, I'm not a morning person, so I'll always rush almost 5 minutes before the bus. I'll rush to the bus stop and get the bus. But one day I was in time, way in time. By 7 I was there. I was the first to arrive at the bus stop. So I sat and I was daydreaming. So after a while I looked at my watch and I thought it's almost 7:30. People should be around. The bus will be here like in 5 minutes. How come there's no one? So now I look behind me and I realize everybody's standing. It took me a while to realize that people did not sit next to me because I was black. So there is this long bench where I'm sitting by myself. So this is when I realized, really, I mean, as a little child in Paris, I'd be teased because of the color of my skin. But those memories got lost. Now I'm an adult, a young adult, and I realize I am black. But my thought was, if this is post-apartheid, this is what I'm living, then what was it before? I mean, it made me realize what the people could have gone through, because now it's supposed to be a free country. And then, of course, hanging out with the Congolese always went through trouble. We'll try to go to a restaurant. I mean, for us, we have our money. All we want is just to go and eat. Like, no right of admission reserved. Reserved to who? To what? We didn't really understand. You know, the nearest club to us was in Braamfontein. So all we want, let's go to a club and dance. But you get there, you see, they're trying to stop you, security guards. But why? The club is open. You know, all of that makes us realize that you're black. I came from Congo. For me, was like, you're free. You've got your money. You go anywhere that you want. Those were the things. Even university, trying to register to enroll at university was difficult. So luckily for me, there were some Congolese from DRC who were doing really well. Those are the ones who helped me get through. Like, I'll speak to the dean, I'll do this, because I didn't know where to start. And yeah, so it was really, really challenging. I would say South Africa was really, we say in French, Joburg, c'est un grand garçon, meaning he's a big boy. If you can beat Joburg, then believe you me, you can beat anything in the world.
So Joburg actually gave you the strength to keep going?
I think I had it within me, but Joburg just kind of emphasized it. I knew for me to live in this country, I really had to fight. And proof is, when we came, we didn't need a visa. So at the time, I found out like we were about 60 to 100 Congolese of my generation who came at the same time. Within 2 years, most of them left.
Wow.
And my mom freaked out. She called like, everybody's coming, everybody's saying that country's not good, just come back. And I'm thinking, my mom, no, I'm not coming back. I haven't finished yet. I need to complete what I came for.
So you were determined. You were very determined.
I was determined because when my father brought me, he said, I give you a year. If after a year you're not doing well, you're coming back to Congo. I think just the idea of going back really pushed me, and I thought I need to prove this guy wrong, you know. Somehow I found the strength, but really it was tough. It was tough.
Love. Okay. Explain. Love?
Love.
You said it was because of love.
I said it, no, I said it was tough.
Oh, it was tough.
It was tough.
Okay,
no,
my apologies,
love.
my apologies.
Love came years later.
Oh, okay. So you're in South Africa and somehow your parents sent your sister and your brother to join you, even though they were worried about you. How did that happen?
No, so I'm in South Africa in 94. I managed to study. I'm speaking French. I'm young. I'm beautiful. And I'm finding jobs easily, by the way, because French companies are here. I used to do what they called at the time, what did they call it? I think it was a car expo, which happened every year at Nasrec. And Renault used to expose their cars. So they look for Francophone ladies. And I always get a job. So, and I started working as a student. 1997, actually, there's the worst civil war in Brazzaville. Worst civil war. Where
That's
like,
recent.
yes, like thousands of people were killed. And my parents had to move, and our house was, you know, vandalized, you know, when civil war goes. And I remember having sleepless nights, just crying, worrying about my siblings, worrying about my parents, what are they going to become? Because there's a point where you could not even reach them by phone because they stopped all communication. So imagine in a foreign country alone, and you worried. And really, God bless me, in 1998, I found my first job at the French school. I signed my contract. So I called my mom and I said, I've got a job now. I got the job, I think, in September. I told my mom, I've got a job now.
And this is, you've graduated?
So I graduated, but I did not find a job in what I was studying. I found a job because I spoke French and the French school needed someone, and I need to go do aftercare there. That's how I got the job. So I tell my mom, those kids need to get out of the country. When I say those kids, my younger sister was 18, my brother was 13. I said, give me 3 months with my first salary, I'll organize myself, I'll find a place, and once I find the place, you can send them. And my mom said, are you sure? Are you sure? I said, I'm sure now, mommy. I've got a job. I just signed my contract. And believe me, I was earning 3,000 rand. Oof, I was so happy. So my siblings came January 1999. Yes. And that's how we left Congo.
It's incredible. and you've made a life for yourself here.
Maybe if you say so. I mean, for sure, I'm stable. I've got my kids. I'm happy. Yes, I think so. I'm not starving, so yes, I am happy.
What was your actual first job?
So, first of all, when I was growing up, I've always been well-spoken, at least in French. Okay, English is my second, whatever, third or fourth language. In French, I was very well-spoken. So I thought I'll be maybe a news anchor, journalist, or lawyer. Okay. My dad goes, no, you have to study science. My mom, being a doctor, of course, she was dreaming of somebody taking over her. And so I started to study chemistry in Congo. When I came to South Africa, not knowing the system, how it worked, I said, I want to do chemistry. When I went to Technicon, first of all, they said you can't go to VETS, which I wanted to go. So they sent me to VETS Tech. And they put me into biotechnology. They said, if you do chemistry here, then you can become do pharmacy later. Which was not true, because as I was doing biotechnology, when I got into my third year and I started going for training, I realized training were more in factories, Rand Water, Danone. That's not what I wanted. I wanted pharmaceutical companies, not food industry. So what I didn't understand was biotechnology was more for food, for factories. Then I realized this was wrong. I knew I would not work in that, actually. This is not what I wanted. Because as a student, I used to go and do aftercare at the French school. So I'll rush from university, finish at 1, take a taxi, rush to Morningside and do aftercare. Now the school knew me. So, and they knew I was good with children, actually. So when they opened a class, they needed an assistant teacher. They offered me a position. So that was my first job, assistant teacher.
Oh, wow. Okay. Look at you. Okay. Did you really want to go into pharmacology when you were younger, or was that just a means to an end? What was your actual passion, and what did you want to do, really?
That's why I say, for me, what I really wanted to do is something I could speak to people. Well, I thought if you're a news anchor, people will hear you, because I said I was well-spoken. So, but, in life, I always say, life throws lemons at us. It's up to us to make lemonade. Yeah. So, because now I'm in a foreign country, I really don't have a choice. Right? So I'm here assistant teacher. Every job that I did it well. The reason I got assistant teacher is because when I did the aftercare, I did so well. I didn't know people were looking at me until one day I lift my head and I can see the principal of the school looking at me. And this is 4 p.m. There's no one at the school, me alone. I realized people were watching me. But thank God I always did what I do right. So when they had a job, they called me. And even assistant teacher, I did it well. But I also realized assistant teacher had a ceiling. From here, all I could do is be a teacher. Again, I speak French, but I'm not French. I'm Congolese. And most teachers were French. So the school is growing. Now they have a position as a receptionist. And I have an advantage. Most of those French teachers, they're coming straight from France. They can't speak English. I've just completed my study in South Africa, so I can speak English. So I go again and apply for a receptionist job. And of course I get it. So now I'm a receptionist. Now I'm thinking I'm into admin. And the sky's the limit. At least here I can grow, even move out of the school.
Okay, and what year was that?
That was, I became a receptionist 2000. But in between, to survive, I had 3 jobs. So remember, my siblings came to South Africa in 1999. Yeah. I'm earning 3,000. I'm paying, so I moved out of Yeovil, but I thought I need to go back to Yeovil so that, because Sandton didn't have taxis, transport was difficult. So we go back to Yeovil. I'm taking taxis. I'm thinking I need to buy a car within 2 years. So for 3,000, my rent is 1.5, right? I still need to feed my siblings, buy groceries. So what I do, I get a job as a shop lady, selling into shops on Saturday. I make a deal with a lady. I said, please don't pay me. I just want to get clothes. And then I sell coffee at Rosebank Flea Market at the time of the rooftop on Sundays. That's the money for my transport. Okay, so that I could save money and buy a car because I need to save like 1.5 every month. So I did 3 jobs. I remember my mom coming and crying, why are you doing this? She came in 2000. That was the first year she came to visit. Like, why are you doing all of this? I mean, we're still alive. We can still take care of you. I'm saying, but mom, this is me. I actually loved every job that I did. I like being selling in a shopping center, you know, well dressed, and you just walk around, you know everybody. I love selling coffee, basically, but it was quite, yeah, that's what I did. So my first job, and then moved to receptionist. Now I'm into admin, and I know, okay, if I can just go back and study, I can go somewhere else. So I go back to Dublin and do a secretary course in, for a year.
Really?